Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 3-0 Take, where we talk all things Major League Baseball. Here's Kyle Corwin and Nate Reyes. It all starts right now.
All right, so we are here with Lindsay Barnett, founder and CEO of Playground Productions, but more importantly, I would say the main reason I can continue living my childhood dream with backyard baseball and really all of the sports. Lindsay, appreciate you hopping on with us.
Thank you guys for having me, and thrilled to bring back backyard for you guys.
Yeah. So I have to ask, how does this even come about? Like, who has the idea to not only bring this back, but to be crazy enough to actually pull it off?
Yeah, that's the second part is really the definition of what this haul is. It's like, who is the craziest person to do this? And it just happened to be me. But I was actually a elementary school teacher in COVID trying to find good content to recommend to my students. And I went back to my favorite game, which was the backyard sports franchise, backyard baseball, backyard football. And the games were nowhere to be found. Like, you couldn't play them. It was like it never happened. And so that crazy teacher then went on a wild goose chase, and I wound up first just starting in normal search, couldn't find anything. Wound up hiring a private investigator, tracking the rights down, and then getting the rights after like 2.5 years of the process. So crazy is probably the right word.
That's so cool. So Lindsay, I know we kind of chatted about this when we met in person in Atlanta during the All-Star Week, but for us, like Kyle and I, our roots go way back. Like, we grew up playing Little League together. I was over at his house all summer, every summer, playing backyard baseball on his big clunky desktop computer.
Good.
And it's like such a full circle thing for us to now come back together again as adults. We're starting this podcast back in 2018, and now all of a sudden we're hanging out at this private brunch and meeting people that are revitalizing a game that we enjoyed so much as a kid. So first off, thank you from us, from me, for bringing this back. Take me back to your childhood. Like, what was, you said that you are obviously into backyard sports as a kid. So like, what was that like for you? What were you doing?
I mean, I was just a super sporty little girl. I mean, I was growing up in Chicago during the 90s, where everybody thought they could be like Mike. And despite, I'm barely
Keep the shoes in the background, everybody.
Yeah. There's a reason why those shoes are there. And I have a signed Jordan jersey over there. Like, it's very deep in my DNA of like a love of sports and this kind of imagination around what sports can do. And so when I was 5 years old, my parents got me backyard baseball, 1997. And it was the first game, and actually I think the only game I've ever seen that had boys and girls on the bench. And the girls were also good players. And that just really like made me a baseball fan. I fell in love with baseball. I learned the rules. I played t-ball, then I played baseball and then softball. But then I started to play all of the different backyard games. And I wound up playing on the co-ed flag football team in my community. And that was really all because of these games. And, I'm saying like, oh, I played backyard football, but I also then played in my own backyard football or backyard baseball. So it really went beyond the screen for me and was a huge part of my childhood.
Kind of going off that, do you see the backyard sports franchise as a tool, as a vehicle in engaging kids in sports, but also bringing them back to sports? Because as we know, certain sports at times, baseball included, they'll have their ups, their downs, they'll have their lulls, and kids sort of, especially in today's day and age where you can literally do anything with your time. Do you feel as though the backyard sports franchise has an effect in bringing kids back towards the center of sports and enabling them to enjoy it again?
Absolutely. And I think it's not surprising to me that when I go to cool events like All-Star, I meet you guys and I can spot a backyard kid grown up anywhere. Like there's just a certain vibe and personality of who a backyard kid grows up to be. And it really is like this celebration of a joy of the game and like this appreciation of the sport that goes beyond even just the professional level, but goes and makes it fun. And that's what I think a lot of sports are missing in the youth space is just that joy. Like not every kid is going to grow up. I certainly, when I was playing flag football, was not going to grow up to be in the NFL. But I loved it and I played and had a great time and now play fantasy football and watch on TV and root for my teams. And, you know, that kind of stuff I think has come from this game. I mean, that wouldn't have been football in particular would not have been a sport that my parents would have like directed me at. You know, my dad was a professional tennis player. That was probably the direction that we would have been going in. But I was like, oh, basketball, Michael Jordan, baseball, backyard baseball, 1997. Football, backyard football, 1999. I'm ready. Pablo Sanchez, Keisha Phillips. They can do it, so can I. So, I mean, I feel like that was kind of the vibe of what really inspired a lot of what I did as a kid.
You brought up a really good point, and I want to build off of that, was seeing the only game where you're seeing boys and girls in the game, where obviously us as kids, like especially our generation, I feel like we're growing up outside. It's like, we're just trying to fill the field, right? Like we don't care if it's girls, if it's sisters, if it's like, you know what I mean? Let's just get a full team going against a full team. So talk to me a little bit about some of what that means to you and kind of how much pressure you feel like you're taking on yourself of saying like, I want to reintroduce this again and bring this back for those little girls out there that are interested in sports and want to be a part of this.
Well, and it's even beyond just like the gender split of having 15 boys and 15 girls, but like we have our best pitcher in baseball is in a wheelchair. And we have had so many people from the wheelchair community who are playing in, you know, the Paralympics who reach out and are like, that's the only character that I saw that was that good. And when you think of just the representation, like it really matters. And I think as a kid, you see it and you see so many different types of kids on that bench and you think you can do it. And now, you know, it's not even just like lip service. Now we actually meet those adults who are like, yeah, I saw Kenny Kawaguchi in a wheelchair and he was playing as a pitcher because he could stay on the mound and just throw absolute, you know, fireballs. But like that mattered to a lot of people. And that's how I felt about seeing, you know, it's how I felt about seeing Keisha Phillips as like one of the greatest hitters in the game. Like she's a must have on your team. And it didn't matter if she was a girl or not. She's just great.
That brings up something else too, because so I had like a PlayStation 4 that was sitting in my office and it had dust all over it. Hadn't touched it for years. You just eventually grow up and you know, you kind of lose the desire to play it, especially when you get married. And so we have this trip coming up for Atlanta and Kyle and I are like, how do we like, maybe we stream a game. So he's like, why don't we play MVP 05? That's the game, you know, on Xbox that we grew up playing at his house, right? And he's like, well, I don't want to travel with the giant Xbox. So I was like, well, what if I went and got like those old school, really thin PlayStation 2s? So I go to this little thrift shop and I find all these classic games. And sure enough, we have backyard baseball. I was like, I'm snagging that. But I was like, I need to kind of get the cobwebs, you know, and dust off here. So I turn it on. My wife comes in and I'm showing her, I'm like, babe, this is the game that like Kyle and I grew up playing. Like this is, you get to experience a lot of what this is like. And so she's looking through the roster and she's seeing it. My wife is an RBT. She works for kids on the spectrum. And I don't know if there was any intentionality with this, but I think it's Amir Khan that has the headphones.
Yeah.
And she was like,
go ahead.
any chance that he's autistic? And I was like, babe, I don't think that was the intent. But you bring up such a good point that it's like, it's more inclusive to anybody can play this game. And like, again, anybody filling out this roster in our backyard, come play.
Sorry,
you
Ahmed
know?
has the head.
Ahmed.
Yeah. But funnily enough, Ahmed's character is just a super music fan. But it's funny when you look at it today because it means something different now, right? Like your wife is looking at it as maybe those are noise canceling headphones. For us in the 90s, those were, maybe Walkman era.
Yeah.
Those were just big headphones. Nobody had the little like in-ears. But to me, it doesn't matter as long as people watch and they see something or feel something. And that's what we've overwhelmingly felt is that, people are coming to this game. Some new kids are coming to this game and like gravitating towards specific characters that, might do a funny dance. I mean, we have one kid, Marky Dubois, who wears no shoes and whatever.
An old country boy.
Great old country boy, New Orleans. And it's so funny because people, little kids who are playing it, when he pitches on the mound, he dabs, like the dance, like the dab. And they're like, oh my gosh, he knows how to emote. And I'm like, yeah, I think that has nothing to do with why it was created that way. But it's just so funny to see like how they're interpreting different parts of it. They're like, he's so ahead of its time. I'm like,
he's been around for like 20 years. But
I don't know.
He is around. He is ahead of his time. Well, kind of going off of that point is something I wanted to ask you, Lindsay, is obvious. I mean, just listening to Nate and I talk about how much we love backyard baseball and really all the sports within the franchise. And Nate even said it, nostalgia. That's a word that comes to mind anytime you talk about this game.
Yeah.
I have to imagine for you as sort of the leading force behind this, that has to be a major motivator in terms of the kids that are coming to this game now for the first time, like you said, where it's like, is one of the goals that you have trying to make this game and market it and really open it up to these kids in a way that when they're our age looking back, they're going, man, those were some of the best days of my childhood is when I was able to play backyard baseball, which was brought back by you and your team.
Thank you. Yeah. So I really have been thinking about it, and the way that the whole team has thought about it is really like Mario Kart. Mario Kart is a game for the whole family.
Exactly.
One that kids can play, adults can play. You can play it socially. You could play it if you've never played a racing game before. You don't have to know how to drive to be able to play it. And that's how we think about the backyard sports games. They are pick up and play. It's easy. You can play something very, very simple. You could play on T-ball mode. You could play on hard mode. You can invent your own rules. You could pick the best players, the worst players. And we're finding that people are coming to it just for the comedy and the joy versus just like, oh, I must have the best team and the highest, this, that, and the other thing. Like they're coming to it for a very specific kind of fun. And I think that is what I'm most interested in as we expand the franchise is, how can we bring joy back to the game? Because I, as a kid growing up in the 90s and 2000s, feel like that was a time where there was a real spirit of play. There was an excitement and a joy to be a kid. And unfortunately, I feel like so many games now are making kids adults faster, and even just like the landscape of the internet. And this I love because it's actually these incredible millennials who love the game, stamp it as like, it's cool, it's fun, it's funny, and it inspires all of the kids to be like, oh wait, like my favorite athlete likes that game, I should check it out too. And then they're having this like real thread of just having fun. And we're seeing that a ton. And I'm really so grateful for all of the athletes who have just organically talked about how much they love this game, because it means a lot to kids who are like looking up to them and finding a good, wholesome game to play.
I'm glad you brought that up because and all of the content that I've seen with like these gamers that are streaming it on Twitch and things like that, I'll just pop in when it pops up on my feed. I'm just like, let me just like let me see if I can sort of take myself back and be like, all right, am I commentating this game the way I would have been as a kid? And you're right. It's there's such a purity to it, even in today's gaming world, where, like you said, so many of these games are pushing these kids so much faster along and further along, where this game sort of it strips all that away. We're not trying to upgrade skins. We're not trying to, we're not spending like actual money to buy a better bat. Exactly. Yeah. Things like that. So that you bring up a great point. That's something that I think has always stood out about this game, and the fact that that's still something that appeals to the kids and the gamers even today is something that I feel like is really cool to see.
And the craziest part is it worked. Like, it's one thing for us to think like, oh, this game still holds up for us as millennials. But if you go on Apple, Backyard Baseball 2001 and Backyard Baseball 1997 are the number 1 and 2 family games on the app. Like, that's so cool to me, because it's saying like kids are playing this now and they're having the same joy that we had. And, it was really fun to see. Dude Perfect has a gaming channel, and they went on and played. We didn't know that they were doing this. It's such a fun surprise, because of course, like, they grew up playing these games,
and they're a massive platform.
Like they're playing it on this massive gaming platform, and all these kids are discovering how much fun it is. Because when you watch someone you look up to, and like one of the dudes from Dude Perfect, and they're not just playing the game, but having so much fun. And I think for a lot of millennials who play, some people are parents, or I was a former teacher, and, aunts, uncles, whatever it might be. If you see what Kids Little League looks like, it is so funny to watch, like everybody run or them drop a ball. And that's how the Dude Perfect guys were reacting to it, was like, oh my gosh, like it's right there. So yeah, it's been really fun.
That's so cool. Talk to me about, we got to meet some of your other team members in Atlanta. Yeah. Talk to me about what it's been like building this team and like full on revitalizing this thing and getting after it.
Yeah, the team has been everything. It honestly has been like drafting players to, the Melonheads or the Wombats. That's what it feels like. It's like the perfect team that is not just great at what they do, but also loves and truly is passionate about this brand. And the first person that joined the team was Chris Waters, who you guys met. He joined with like tons of animation experience, and the first time he saw these characters, because he did not grow up with them, he was like, oh my gosh, there's so much storytelling to be done with these characters. I can't wait to like unlock those stories. And it just really kickstarted so much for us. We might have some fun things in animation that you'll be able to see. And of course, just making sure that the animation in all of the games is captured, because it is a huge part of like how a kid walks up to the plate, or how a kid, celebrates or is mad, or all of those things he's got such a good eye for. And the rest of the team is really filled with a lot of entrepreneurs and people who just really believe and have a vision for how to grow this. But we have an incredible partner with MegaCat, who's our game developer, and they've been helping us do what our team is definitely not smart enough to do, which is reverse engineer and CD-ROM hack these games. I just know the buzzwords. I can't tell you anything more than that. But they've really been able to bring those games back, because we don't have any source code.
Well, I think we talked about this in Atlanta, and it's that in the time that I've been playing this, since it was available for download, I have looked at this game with such a critical eye, looking for like even a pixel out of place from how I remember it.
Yeah.
And I have yet, and I'm not blowing smoke. No. I truly have not found a difference from the game the way it is now to how it was when I was playing as a kid. I don't know how they're
so
doing
good.
it, but it is incredible. it is incredible.
It's amazing because they're, without source code. I'll like say it in the way that I know how to say it, but without source code, there's a lot of limitations for what we can do. Like we can't very easily, make changes to the game. You can't go like, oh, swap out this stat or that stat. We can't do those things. But there have been like glitches and bugs that they've been able to improve on and make the game even better than it was back then. And that to me is like crazy. I don't know how they do it, but they are able to do it. And, but sometimes it's funny, like there are just things that existed in 1997 or 2001 or whatever that you're like, yeah, it's just the way it is here. So.
That's so cool.
Yeah, the Mega Cat team is incredible.
For those unfamiliar with this story, and no need to like necessarily reveal who's there, but we're at a pretty exclusive event, and Kyle and I are kind of rubbing shoulders with impressive people and having impressive conversations that all have their own fingerprints on the game we love. And next thing you know, you and a 6'5" Chris walks in, and there's Pablo Sanchez on the shirt, and we were like beelining to you guys. They're like, these are cool conversations, but let's go talk to these people real quick.
Oh,
it was so cool to see. I love
walking around. Chris and I are like so funny when we walk in because he's like a huge man, and but like with the big giant smile on his face and Pablo Sanchez on his shirt always. And so, I think we love going to those things because it's like we have two experiences. We either have really fun people like you guys who walk up and like have something exciting to share and I get to do things this, or we have really fun fans walk up to us and have no idea that we're a part of this relaunch, and we get to like have kind of an undercover boss moment where, kids will bring something up or even adults will bring stuff up. I mean, we got stopped by, we felt like we were repping like just a celebrity on our chest. It's like, yes, Pablo Sanchez is there and we know him.
That's a generational icon if there ever
True.
was one.
I mean, I believe the greatest, quote me on it, the greatest athlete of all time, the true GOAT, because who else can play all of the sports at that level? It's not just baseball, it's football, it's soccer, it's basketball, it's hockey, it's skateboarding. This kid can do it all.
And
his little belly poking out.
That's right. That's where the power's from.
And also is bilingual for those that knew the secret of the old school games, the old space bar, that kind of thing. If they knew.
Yeah, it's wild that Pablo, again, so ahead of its time, to have a character that primarily speaks Spanish and is still just like the greatest, speaks the language of baseball and sports, and that's what matters.
I mean, truth be told, I wouldn't be surprised if his walk-up song laid the groundwork for just the elite walk-up songs, closer entrances that we have in today's game. I wouldn't be surprised because I feel like the time frame, the schedule just.
Speaking of that, I'm waiting for some of the pros to ask us. I'm like, ask us to use Pablo Sanchez walk-up song. I'm like waiting for the moment because I want to know who it is. And I just think like, you're at the World Series and somebody walks up with a GOAT. Like they are hitting a homer.
Why have I not considered that until just now? Like I haven't even considered. I was like, surely they probably wouldn't be able to. But you're literally just like, somebody, please
I will tell you, yes,
use this.
We'll give you the rights to be able to use. Oh my
goodness!
Call us,
genius.
DM us. I'm like, so I really call this the power of Pablo. I don't know what it is. Sorry also that the sun has fully gone down through this interview, but
it's still the cool Chicago skyline behind you.
Vibe throughout, but we call it the power of Pablo because whatever celebrity, athlete, and I think even a lot of people who are playing recreationally in their own like softball and baseball leagues uses or wears something of Pablo. They like get this magic vibe. And last year, Players Weekend, Bobby Witt Jr. Used a Pablo Sanchez bat. And he was the only player to use it. It was for Pablo Sanchez's birthday. And at bat comes, he hits a homer. I think it was like 421 or 31 feet, and absolutely destroyed it. And that was what kind of kicked it off. And then it kept rolling. Baker Mayfield wore a Pablo Sanchez jersey during one of his games before, during the tunnel. Scored 5 touchdowns. I think it's the most in his career. Like, it just feels like it keeps happening where somebody.
Some say coincidence.
The Pablo bump.
Pablo went to the Mets game. We had a mascot. The Mets couldn't lose after he tied.
Crazy hot streak.
Saw that.
It's a truly wild thing. Pablo kicked off the season doing the Cubs con, and then the Cubs like went right into first place for the first half of the season. And I don't know, you just need a little Pablo magic in your life.
Well, I mean, I saw you guys you were at the Pirates game. I mean, there's no fixing the Pirates. I mean, that is even
after they did.
even as great as backyard baseball is. No disrespect to the Pirates, but I don't even know if backyard baseball could say the Pirates. Which, by the way, now that I'm thinking of it, this takes me back to like Nate said, we started doing this in 2018. And there's certain takes that I'll share. Like, I forget 95% of the things I say, but there's a few takes that I latch on to that I just sprinkle in episodes as we go along. One of the first takes I remember sharing, it was like episode 5 or something.
Please don't go back and listen.
Yeah, you don't need to go back and listen. It's a mess.
Go back.
It's a mess. No, it may not even be up. Who knows? But we somehow got on the topic of talking about PNC Park.
Okay.
And I said, at the time, obviously backyard baseball isn't, backyard sports aren't back yet. But in my simplistic brain, I'm thinking, how has backyard baseball not made a deal with the Pirates to rename PNC Park Steel Stadium? And I stand by that take.
What a great take.
Talk about a crossover.
That is an incredible take. Okay, first of all,
feel free to use it. I relinquish that to you. Go for it.
Like, I'm gonna call the Pirates and tell them that. But no, it was honestly like one of the greatest professional nights of my life. They let me throw the first pitch there. They gave out 20,000 t-shirts that had like their players with Pablo and Stephanie. It was like Skeens as a backyardified kid, and then they had on the Jumbotron, every single player who walked up was backyardified, cartooned. And so they like put their faces on the entire roster. And then they played like various kids songs during it. And then for the other team, they played like the like lull downer music from Backyard, which was and like foul balls and everything. So it was really just an incredible night. But nobody said anything about Steel Stadium, and that is an unbelievable take. And
rename it for a day. Even if it's not full time, just rename it for a day, and my dreams will be made. So that's.
I hope they have us back, and that will be the number one thing that I say. Let's do a Steel Stadium backyard baseball takeover, because what a cool stadium.
I love it.
I know, the Dream Stadium too. Well, you just said that was one of like the coolest things you've done professionally. Walk us through like some of the experiences you've gotten to go through and people you've gotten to meet, and maybe some starstruck moments you've had during this process.
I mean, it's when you think about the millennials who grew up with this, like all these athletes who are kind of between 27 and 37, and sometimes it surprises us when they're younger, but I mean, the amount of cool athletes who have reached out to say that they're fans or they want to be cartooned into a character, or they want to, can they be in a game? Like that kind of stuff is just so unbelievable. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of pinch me moments. but that's what happens when you get to work with Pablo Sanchez. Like, people want to try him. And but yeah, I mean, we had a lot of cool things. I think Jalen Brunson, he went on his podcast and he was repping Pablo and Backyard. We had no idea that was going to happen. The Kelseys went on their pod talking about how Backyard baseball and football were their favorite games as kids. That was actually more exciting after the fact, not during. I had not closed on the deal yet, and so it was very stressful when they brought that up. But then it turned out to be really fun after. And yeah, just gotten to meet tons of people, and I got to go to the World Series last year, and got to go to All-Star for basketball and All-Star for baseball, and just Super Bowl for football. I mean, sometimes I'm like, what is life?
Yeah. Everyone listening and talking to you right now is very jealous. So keep it up.
I'm like, is this really my life? Am I dreaming? Like, am I going to wake up from this thing? But yeah, it's been really cool. And I think as many cool people as we've gotten to meet and cool experiences that our team has gotten to have, there's also just the like genuine fan experience of like going and interacting and playing these games with kids. We went to the Special Olympics big event in Chicago, and we had a bunch of our iPads set up and some Nintendo Switches, and we had all these kids come over, and actually a lot of adults too. And it was so rewarding to be able to get to see the Special Olympics community, especially the adults and the adult athletes in their program, getting to play a sports game that they actually could play and that was accessible. And that was overwhelmingly what we heard was, some games this game is too hard for me, or this game is too hard. And I was like, give it a try. I think you'll enjoy it. And we couldn't get people to leave our station. And those are the moments that actually make it the most rewarding.
Well, I mean, even Justin, talking to you and learning more about your team, it's very safe to say that, I think the simple fact of you trying to bring this back and obviously succeeding in doing that, you've like I said, made the dreams of just so many people. So I just feel like it's very selfless. But for you personally, and you can be a little selfish, has there been a like, oh shoot, like I've made it kind of moment in all of this?
Well, I mean, I think honestly being asked and invited to throw the first pitch was like an incredible thing. I did not have that on my bingo card. And that was really cool because my mom and dad and my grandpa and a lot of my family like came out to see that and get to have that moment. And I think that just was why, that was so much more exciting. Was like, it was kind of a celebration of it's only been 1 year since Backyard has been, since all of this has happened. And, just to really celebrate how much hard work has gone into the year. And yeah, I think that to me is like why that really sticks out.
So I know there's limited things you're allowed to say, but I do want to get into what's down the road, what's coming up for you guys, and it's kind of a two-part question of what you're excited about, but also we're seeing it's not just, I don't know, I think we're the best generation. I'm just going to be honest. We're just in this tweener of like understanding that youth that's just, we wish we could tap into it again. And we're obviously experiencing this growth in technology. But I mean, Kyle and I joke about, he went to a game the other day with a digital camera, which they're now going for a couple $100 because people are trying to like grasp that nostalgia, grasp that originality. Can you talk to me about what's next for you guys, and how do you make sure that you're still able to tap into what made it great in the first place?
Yeah, well, I think I'm highly inspired by the 90s and 2000s and my own childhood. That's been a lot of the kind of like what was done right and why did I have such a great childhood, and what could we provide to kids and adults today that, you know, they're missing. And a lot of that is just this like comedy. You know, when we show this to the kids, like they are loving the humor of the game. And I think that's a lot of what's missing from games right now is they're so serious. Like you become a professional at that sport. And so for us, I think there's a very limited and few, you know, there's few people in the world who get to grow up and be like a professional athlete, but everybody can play in their backyard and be the star and have that moment. And so we're really trying to create that again with our storytelling. And we're a full, like coming through this year, we're going to have released 6 retro titles: Backyard Baseball 97, Soccer 98, Football 99, Basketball 01, Baseball 01, and Hockey 02 are all coming back. And then we have a brand new game that's going to come out next year, and everything that you love about the retro titles, we're going to have everything and more in the new game. So really excited about that. And then, like I said before, you know, we bring in great people like Chris Waters, who's a specialist in animation, and maybe there's things you'll be able to see, and maybe you'll be able to take some items and be able to play in your own backyard too. So it's really a multimedia company.
I don't want to pry. I don't want to spoil any surprises, but
just layers. We're just going to keep working her down.
Well, let's start chipping away. What's the best way to phrase this? The kids today that are watching the players on their device, I can't even say screens, because I mean tablets, phones, whatever it is that they're watching on, those players, is there going to be a way that they connect with the players that they're watching with what you guys are maybe working on? You can't confirm or deny, but is that, I'll just ask you this, is that something that you would like to do moving forward?
So I think that a really important part of all of the games has been having the core cast of characters, like those 30 kids that you love, and then Sunny Day and whoever her co-host is, depending on the sport. But then there has been a real love of like getting to see stars from whatever sport it is, whether it's, you know, you guys are baseball guys, so you probably had a person that you really loved who showed up on the backyard bench, and that is a part of the game. Like that's a really fun element of backyard that we want to celebrate. We don't want to take away from, you know, our characters. So it's really special to be invited and included into the backyard universe. And so we're really intentional about who we're inviting in, and you know, the who and the why. It won't be a situation in which like an entire league shows up, because, you know, it's different, and you want kids to be able to relate, just like how I related as a girl and was getting to see like, wait, there are girls like me who are also playing in this. Like that's very important to the backyard. So I think it's safe to say, yes, I want that to be in the universe.
The only reason I ask, and no pressure, you know, if that ends up being part of the future plans down the road, but who, like you said, with the intentionality and the choices you guys make, there is some pressure there, because going back to 01, if Marty Cordova was not in Backyard Baseball 2001, I can guarantee you I'm never remembering or saying that name ever again. So again, no pressure, but these are going to be, you know, like I said, if this is something you guys, move forward with in future plans, should that opportunity come, the people that you put in there, these are names that these kids are going to remember.
Yeah, it matters a lot. And I think also like part of what we're thinking about too is like we have, it's a cool thing to be able to have 2 fan bases, like really this millennial original fan base, and then like an entire fan base of kids. And so, we're also really conscious to make sure that our choices serve both groups and that there's something for everyone in the backyard universe. So we're very thoughtful about it. Yeah, I would be curious, did you guys have a particular pro in any of the games that you were like, yes, that's my guy or girl?
Well, I mean, for me, truth be told, could not have worked out any better, because all-time favorite player for me is Cal Ripken. So having him be the cover athlete, I mean, I was like, this is peak. I don't know, like I think everything else is downhill from this point, and this is back in 2001. Like I don't know if it gets better than this. So I mean, that was awesome for me, for sure.
Yeah, and it was so great to be able to get him back to be on our cover again this time around. Like,
I was thrilled.
Obviously we're buying it a different way, but like he posted it out on his on Facebook, and I was like, oh my gosh, Cal Ripken Jr., the guy who I played and saw on the cover of my CD, is now reposting art that we made of him, and just wild.
I mean, it feels like a cop-out answer, but Keisha was like, it was just, it's hard to pass up. It's hard to pass up Keisha. She's in the middle of your lineup, and it's like, I mean, she drops tanks. Like, what? So I can't pass her up. Yeah.
I totally get it. Yeah, I mean, I think that, to me, it depends. Like, I'm a Chicago girl, so like, to me, Sammy Sosa being on that roster in 2001, I was like, oh my gosh, give me all the backyard kids and Sammy Sosa on my team. I was just like so hyped. And then I remember that year, like asking my dad if we could go to a Cubs game. And I really had never asked him that before, but I had fallen in love with baseball and like real MLB baseball. Because I was like, I know all the pros and I know who's playing. I know the other team when they come to town because of this game. I'd be like, that guy's on my team, or that guy's really good pitcher, or that guy's a good catcher, or whatever it is.
Well, I think you'll be pleased to know, like, the classic example of like when you're bored, you're just like reading nutrition facts or whatever, just whatever you can find around. You're like, I got nothing else to do. Honestly, since 01 came out and was available for download, my go-to, if I'm like, I've got like 2 minutes here to spare, I got nothing else to do, I'm taking Big Mac to Ekman Acres and just letting Mr. Clanky lay it in there, and I'm trying to get it to 600 feet every pitch, but that's how I've been passing time as of late.
It is really a fun thing to do those kind of like a make your own home run derby kind of vibe. We actually did that at the Cubs convention. We had one Cub, and then we had all these kids playing against them, and a bunch of Cubs rotated in and out. They were supposed to be there for like 15-minute intervals, and we could not get them to leave. They would be like staying there for an hour because they realized that the kids were hitting farther than them. And they were like locking in, like, don't talk to me. I have to like, do exactly what you were doing of like trying to beat that 600 footer. And we did wind up having like a whole group of kids that beat all of their Cubs. And it was just like such a fun thing of like, it's an even playing field right now. And like, these kids have been here for 10 hours this weekend, and you just came in, like they've learned a couple tricks, and so it's I'm so glad that you're able to do that. It's definitely been I'm obviously biased, but every time I'm watching TV now, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to just have the TV on in the background, and I'm just going to roll through some of these games, especially the games that haven't come out yet.
Oh, that's so true. That's gotta be fun. That's such a nice perk.
Yeah. I'm like, I have to play test. I'm working, to see if everything works properly. So
that's so cool. Well, we got football right around the corner. So you guys are getting going in that area, obviously.
That's
so
right.
it's we're not quite sure when this is going to be dropped yet, but I think we're pretty safe to
Football
say it'll
will
be in
be-
football season.
Yeah, so football officially is out on September 9th, and which we were intentional. We were like, let's do it the Tuesday after the first week.
Perfect.
We're like, everybody's back in baseball mode, and everybody's going to want something to do on the one non-football day. So play some backyard football during that Tuesday and Wednesday, and then you'll be hooked. And I genuinely love this backyard football game so much. And it was funny. I was just talking with our social media manager, and he's been playing, and he was visiting his mom for Labor Day weekend, and she's like, stop playing video games on the couch. And he's like, I'm working. I have to play the game right now. And
what a dream.
He's like, it's the greatest job. I just get to be like, yeah.
Holy cow.
And I'm like, yeah, are you working all day? Like, maybe you go and do some other work too. We have more things for you to do. He's like,
just a little R&D.
Yep, I have to play. I have to screen record this. Great touchdown celebration. The power-ups are, every time a power-up pops up, start recording. Hocus Pocus, little sonic boom.
Oh my goodness, that takes you back.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So ahead of its time. I mean, obviously in baseball, there's the fireball pitches and the slow-mo freeze
the
pitches.
fang.
Yeah, but now you get, I love the football power-ups. Like, they're just so iconic, and the commentators, like the leapfrog and chameleon play, like that kid just hopped up downfield,
It's so cheesy. I love it. It's so good.
So good.
I'm glad you brought the power up, because obviously, I mean, I could talk backyard baseball literally for the rest of my life, but don't want to keep you too long. So, Nate, unless you got anything else for Lindsay, I got some rapid fire quick hitters here for Lindsay.
Rapid fire.
All right. Well, you mentioned power up, so let's start with that. And I'm gonna tread lightly here because I don't want to maybe spoil something. So let's pretend nothing. This is completely separate. This is just me asking you, if you had to design your own power up, have you thought about this? Are you all spitballing this around the office? Like, what is a power up that Lindsay would want to see in a game like this?
I mean, I feel like there's some sort of like invisible type of power up where like a character could just like make themselves invisible. It would work in any sport. If you were like rounding bases in, you'd be like, where is the player? If you were in football, like you're running down, nobody knows where the running back is. If you're whatever it is, like it's a pretty good power up skill. So
I like that.
I feel like that would be my choice. But
I like that.
For sure.
Who, and I know this conversation's been had around the office. Who is, in your opinion, who is the modern day Pablo Sanchez?
I mean, he's one of one. Like, I think he's
I respect it. I respect it. You're right.
I would give you an answer. I could give you an answer for any other player, but for Pablo, that's your favorite athlete's favorite athlete.
That's a bar. That's a bar, Lindsay.
I mean, obviously I'm from Chicago. I've got my Jordan sneakers here. I love Michael Jordan, but like Pablo can be the best basketball player, baseball player, and football player. Michael only did the two sports.
That's valid. That's very valid. That's valid. Well, fortunately, I had another name queued up because I felt like you might say that.
Okay.
Pete Wheeler. Who is baseball's modern day Pete Wheeler?
This is so easy. Pete Crow Armstrong. PCA is the modern day Pete Wheeler, in my opinion. Just someone who plays fast, runs those bases, steals those bases. I just feel like he is embodying and studying Pete Wheeler. And I mean, even in the name, at least in baseball, that's who I'd pick.
That's fair.
Yeah. in football, I would go like probably like Tyreek Hill, like someone super fast that like speeding through everything, and you're like, what? Where did that guy come from?
I like that. Pro or not, who is, again, through the scope of baseball, who, in your opinion, is the one player that gets slept on / doesn't get the respect they deserve
In the game?
in the game?
Okay. So I am going to go with Amir Khan because there's two, Maria Luna and Amir Khan. Both, I think, are really slept on.
Maria's quick, isn't she?
Yes, but both of them have a secret stat boost. So I'm going to, spit a little game here. But if Amir and Ahmed are on the same team, Amir's stats boost up. So
good to know.
Good with his brother. And Maria Luna, put her on a pink jersey uniform, and she'll be playing like Pablo.
Oh, all right.
Holy.
Real game right there.
That's impressive. Well, you bring that up, and not to put you on the spot, but I can assume that maybe you've thought about this. Do you have, like, if somebody said, what is your go-to lineup / batting order? Like, do you have that queued up? And again, not to put you on the spot if you don't, but like, do you, because I think I probably do, but okay. Well, I mean, if you want to share it, you can.
Sure. I mean, are we talking 2001 or are we talking 97? 97 OG, maybe.
I mean, it's up to you. Do you have one for both? Because I mean, you don't need to share both. But personally, and I may have alluded or said it earlier, but 01. Oh,
I'll just show you my actual lineup. So this is my team for 97. Look at that, how we can just pop that right up.
That's crazy. Look at that.
So I always went the Little Giants.
I think that's literally my squad.
It's an incredible squad. So, what people are probably going to, be mad about is like, who's your pitcher? I put Pablo on the mound. I know
that's controversial.
It's a controversial take, but I think he doesn't have as high of stamina, but I put him on the mound, and when he runs out, I replace him with Pete. I feel like they can do a great game. Somebody like Kenny or Angela, they can really hold it down for longer, but Angela's really slow when running, and Kenny doesn't bat as well. So I go with power hitters. So that's the lineup that I'm rocking with. And then
actually, now that I look at it, I think that's my squad 8 out of 9. I think I go Angela instead of Tony, but I have a Del Vecchio on the team, so it's basically the same.
I understand that. That's, I think you have to have one Del Vecchio on the team. I feel like, I don't know, I go back to like my childhood. I don't know. As a 7-year-old girl, I just thought Tony was so cool. So I just had to go right back to okay, now this is my little monsters. So this is my team that I'm playing with. I did make myself into a character.
Love that.
So that's who you're looking at right there.
Oh, I thought I was looking at a Weber sister there for a second. Okay, it
was me. It's me.
I like that.
And then I put, of course, Chicago. I put Sammy Sosa. I put Jeter in at shortstop, and then Kenny Lofton, because I like to start Pete Wheeler and Kenny Lofton back to back, so we can get some inside the Parkers. Really kicks off the innings strong.
I love that. Wow.
You brought up a good question.
Inside look.
You brought up a good question, Kyle. Though, like, what is the what's the spot for Pablo? Because I put Pablo in center. I love having Pablo in center.
Sure.
I think Kyle, Casey, you put him at short, don't you?
No, I mean, being a Sox guy, Nomar was holding down for me at short. Nomar. I feel like I'm putting. He might be like my left fielder. No, I think it's where I got Keisha.
I put Keisha behind the dish.
Oh, no, you know what?
Yeah.
I think you're right. Yeah. I think she's behind the dish for me. Yeah, probably second. I feel like I got him at second.
That's fair.
Okay. I mean,
Little versatile, but don't want to run them ragged, you know?
1997 Pablo is tougher in the field than 2001. He's got some more fielding power. So yeah, it's definitely like a fun managerial game. This is the part as a millennial that like all the millennial fans are like way harder core about. Like, we gotta like change this up, strategize here and there, and all the kids are just learning for the first time like about the true power of Keisha, or like the speed of Pete.
Okay, this reminds me. I have to ask this question because I've literally had this question since I was a kid and I haven't been able to find an answer. Was it inherently harder to hit in the OG backyard baseball? Because I swear, and maybe it's just in my head, but I swear 2001 backyard baseball offense seemed to be a lot easier to come by. And I know like the pros are in there, but I feel like just generally, I'm like, am I going crazy or am I just bad with the OG version?
97 is harder. It is like a harder game. And I think that has been like the biggest learning of millennials going back and playing. They're like, wait a second, I am not as good as this at this game as I thought I was. And no, it's absolutely true. Like it is harder. But once you get the hang of it, it just depends on once you get that timing right. Because the way that it was designed was every character has their own timing, their own like swing timing. And so you actually like, it's a little bit different for each person. So you got to like get it down. Right. And then I think, obviously there's more pros and different, there's 61 players to pick from. So some of the timing is more similar with them than the 30 uniques.
That checks out. Cause I struggle with Ichiro.
That was a really good question.
Because I thought I was going crazy, and I'm like, I got to get to. I mean, if there's one person that would know, Lindsay would know. I got to get to the bottom of this. So I'm glad you could clear that up for me.
I think it's funny too to see like what people gravitate towards if they like 97 or 2001 better. And I it's such a mixed bag, and like even the kids playing, like some of them gravitate to like all the kid players from the backyard community, and some of them are like, oh no, I want all pros on my team. But yeah, it just like totally depends. And I think it's also revitalized some of these characters or some of the pros. Like now these kids are learning about like history of sports, which is awesome. And I'm excited with backyard football. That's going to be the case with some of it. I mean, Travis Kelce and Jason talked about on their podcast, like Jerry Rice's touchdown dance is taking out a record book and like writing a new record in. And if you look at the records today, they're all Jerry Rice. And like kids are going to learn that now. Like this guy is so good. And like,
that's such a good point. That's such a good point. Because you're going to reintroduce some like legends to kids that didn't get to grow up watching. That's so true. That's so cool.
It's so cool. And I think it's also been really cool too of like during COVID, we saw this big, influx of like kids collecting baseball cards and sports cards again. And I think that's also been like
fully back. Yeah.
Like, oh wait, like this card is worth a lot. Like this guy's a great player. So people might have some special looks. I mean, these Pablo Sanchez cards in particular are crazy.
My goodness.
Yeah, that has heat, dude. I need one of those for sure.
I need all this stuff if we're being honest with you. Like I'm gonna wear a Pablo Sanchez t-shirt every day for the rest of my life.
I know.
I will be sending you guys great merchandise.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Like the thing that I can do that's like actually so cool is Pablo stuff for everybody.
I love that. Nate, we need to let Lindsay, enjoy the rest of her eating here. So I got one more question, unless you got something else.
I mean, I don't want to step on your toes, Casey. I hope you don't ask this question, but what can Kyle and I do to get backyarded? Even if it's just that picture.
You want to get backyardified?
Yeah.
I can make that happen.
Yeah.
I'm going to make that happen for you guys.
I would love that.
Great.
I
What
mean,
a
that would
great
be-
question. Also, my most common, it's like the most wholesome thing. Like the pro athletes, like that is the first question that they ask is like, can you backyardify? And I'm like, sure.
Yes.
What happen? Okay, I will get you some cartoons.
Grown men coming up to you, like making millions of dollars. Can I please
That's
be
so
backyardified?
Well, it's like it's the new.
I love that. I love
it's
that.
like the new Wheaties box, and I'm like,
So
I
true.
there's like
Great
some
point.
people, like, I mean, it's so rare, and we're trying to make it even rarer to like be a part of the backyard world. And so like the people that get to be backyardified, like it's a big deal, and we've even been doing it with we have like contests on our social media, and fans like sometimes will be like, okay, if you win this contest, like you'll get backyardified, and those are
Yes.
high engagement days.
Oh yeah.
So
See, Nate, you're just jumping right in. Like this is an elite club, and you're just going in there like, hey, can we just jump in there?
You
Gotta shoot your shot.
Nervous. That was a great question. And what, like, waited to the end? Like, what was I?
It's been sitting up there for a minute.
We'll feel this out, and then we'll see. We'll call it a fair trade. You take my Steel Stadium idea, and we'll get back. We'll get backyardified.
There you go.
All right. My last question for you, and you may or may not have thought about this. Pre-2001 legend. So obviously that initial batch of pros that we got, or that we were able to, be introduced to. If you could pick an all-time MLB legend to feature in a backyard baseball game, obviously not included in one that exists now or that has been part of a game, who's one person that you would have loved to have seen in a game?
Oh, that is such a good question. Okay, I'm gonna, first of all, outside of the MLB, I'm gonna pick somebody who I think is like, this is my dream person to be in the game, in the universe, is actually Adam Sandler. I think he is a backyard.
Whoa.
Wow.
Not even a player. I just feel like that's like I said at the very beginning, when I look at someone, I'm like, that's a backyard kid growing up. That is Adam Sandler, like playing pickup with the giant.
I love this. I love this.
Shorts.
That's my pick. Like I would want Adam Sandler in any game, every game. If I could like put him in backyard baseball 97, like he'd be sitting there next to Pablo.
Not like an official sense, but do you like sit like in the work that you all do? Do you guys just like backyardify again? Not necessarily that make it public, but are you guys just like sketching up people? Like, what would Adam Sandler look like backyardified with like this massive baggy
We might
shorts?
have this for like so many different people that we're like, this would just be so cool if like this person could be in it. And like, yes, we have thought about this with a lot of different people.
That's hilarious.
And
that's
like,
a great answer.
I know.
Oh
Yeah,
my goodness.
She one-upped your question with a better answer somehow. And I don't.
I was not expecting that.
there are people like, that's what I think is actually representative of the backyard world, is like, you don't have to actually be a pro athlete to be in it.
It's true.
You just have to be like funny. And there are so many people, which like, throwing the question back at you, is like, if you didn't pick a pro athlete, like who would you want in this world? I know that's put you right on the spot.
I don't.
You have an answer.
I'll be honest with you. I don't know if I can top Adam Sandler. I mean, joking aside, you bring up a good point. Like, and I'm sure you and your team have an eye for that. Is like, you can just look at somebody being in the work that you guys are in. You can just look at somebody and be like, yeah, that person just sort of fits into what we do. And I mean, Adam, if you're talking goofball on the athletic field, I mean, that's your guy.
There's a look, there's a feel. I mean, there are people that like, I don't know, like there's so many that I could imagine. I could imagine Snoop Dogg in this type of like, I could imagine so many people that like aren't athletes, but like feel like they could be in this world of like, there's a personality. Will Ferrell, like, I could do this all day long.
That's so cool.
Great question.
That's awesome.
Good answer.
Well, Lindsay, thank you for coming on. Thank you for doing what you're doing. Seriously, like I'm sure you hear it in all different places that you're going, and what you guys are doing, I think is just it's so cool. And you know, Casey and I are not dads yet, but I can guarantee it that when that day comes, it's 100% going to be one of the first games that's being introduced to our kids. So thank you for what you're doing. Really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you. And good news is you don't even have to be a dad to play it. You can play it. Right?
It's a good point. Yeah, may make a good excuse, but yeah.
It's a great excuse. Yeah, it's a great excuse. Well, thank you guys so much. This was so much fun.
Thank you, Lindsay. Appreciate it.